She's here to motivate, excite, and influence you. She's Sharvette Mitchell. It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show with in-depth interviews from today's leading authors, gospel artists, stars that you want to know about. And now, Sharvette Mitchell.
All right, welcome back again. Thank you to all those that are listening in from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram, from all of our broadcast stations, from our mobile apps. Listeners, we appreciate you for checking us out. Listen, we're moving right on in to our second segment. I'm going to be bringing up to the mic our special guests that are featured with us here today. Tasha Burks, CEO of T. Burks and Associates, an executive recruiting firm based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's the founder of goHIRE University. Listen, over the last decade, this savvy CEO has built relationships across the U.S., really while knocking down barriers for women in male-dominated industries, also introducing diversity into the workplace, and now she's on a mission to help prepare college students for success after college. And then listen, her bosom buddy, her partner in crime, I'm going to say Michelle Horton, is joining us, and she spent over a decade in corporate America developing marketing strategies for leading brands in addition, and she's the president for the goHIRE University program and currently serves as a director of experiential learning and leadership development at Wake Forest University's School of Business, and they are here to talk to us today about goHIRE University, which is an innovative program that uniquely readies underrepresented minority college students for success in the workplace. Yep. Coming up to the mic. I'm bringing them up to the mic right now, live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I am doing great. Thank you so much, both of you, Tasha and Michelle, for joining us and taking a little bit out of your schedule. And so let's jump in. Tasha, I'm going to have you start off as the founder. I'd love for you to just share how this concept of goHIRE University even got kicked off and came about.
Well, one of the clients that we support on the executive recruiting side had asked us to attend a job fair at an HBCU. And after a full day from about 7:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, and seeing hundreds of students, there was only one student that actually garnered our attention. And I said, we have to do better. We've got to do better with, the way that these students are prepared. Because there was definitely a disconnection in presentation and just preparedness for their professional approach. So I kind of drove back to Charlotte and I said, there's got to be a way for one of the same reasons I was talking negatively about that experience. I said it's the same reason that someone else did not show up. So just a few years ago, I created the goHIRE program, but over the course of bringing it to certain universities and seeing the student involvement, I said, it needs to be a little bit more robust. We need to do something to reach even more students. And, I partnered with Michelle because she had a dynamic program as well, and she is a powerhouse with, like-mindedness for preparing these students.
Wow. Well, let me salute both of you because oftentimes people will see an issue, they will feel a burning press about it, but then nothing happens. They don't move forward. They don't implement anything. So I really, really applaud both of you for moving in this direction and really change the needle and move the needle here. And I love that goHIRE University, your focus, just as you mentioned, was around preparation, presentation, the refinement of soft skills, and then also professional development. And so, Michelle, let me bring you into this discussion. Have you seen in the past some of the same things that Tasha has seen and how it was hindering perhaps people being able to move forward in careers after college?
Sure, absolutely. And I think that's connectivity between the two of us is just this desire to close this gap to where students are to where they need to be. More now than ever, the competitive landscape is challenging, and with just the transitioning of how people work and where they work, you're competing with people around the globe now, not just the person sitting next to you. And so there's a constant need for preparation and just being aware about how to better position yourself, how to make yourself stand out, and really be able to take advantage of opportunities. So I'm excited to partner with Tasha. We've known each other for a while now, always tried to find a way to collaborate. And so I'm really, really excited about the opportunity, about working with her and just being able to really work on something that's not only necessary, but just doing purposeful work. So thank you for having us to allow us to share.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And kudos for girls working together. Yes, we can do it, and yes, we do it. So we are debunking that myth. And so some things that just make me just pause and kind of, I don't even understand. So we came up, and when I came up, you knew, okay, if you're going on a job interview or some kind of job fair, you knew to at least put, we used to call them church clothes, but to step it up a little bit. But that is lost, it looks like, in this generation. And one of our sponsors, 123 Job Zone, is saying they're seeing the same things when they're throwing job fairs. What has happened that people don't even know how to come dressed to a job fair? And either of you can respond.
Well, I think with technology and having this proliferation of information, it's a blessing and it's a curse. I think the information is out there to know how to dress. If you just simply Google interview clothes, I mean, the information is there, but I think also there's so much that it's a distraction, and there's so many different ways of working now. So when you look at just geographically how different organizations and industries work, if you look at tech industries versus banking and all of that, a creative agency, you can show up in jeans and your hair, looking a different kind of way. And we're seeing how people are working on social media. And so I think the students, quite frankly, are confused, to be honest with you. I mean, I think there's some confusion, and then there's this, they're drowning in a sea of information, and they don't know how to navigate through it. So the information is there, it's accessible, but they don't know how to use it and apply it to the new scenarios that exist. So like you said, when we were growing up, there's only one way to dress. For interview means church clothes, but now, I think they're misunderstanding based on the different opportunities to work. I get to work on the beach in my flip-flops, or I get to, work in a coffee shop. So I think they're confused. And so I think sometimes there's just this confusion and overwhelming sense of just based on so much information out there. That's one thought that I'm seeing.
That's great perspective, because I didn't even think of it that way, and that would shed some light on perhaps how some are thinking and their thought process of either coming unprepared or coming in what they feel like they're already prepared in. And so, what are some of the things? I know you have an event, you have something that's coming up. So, Tasha, would you like to tell us a little bit about something that's coming up, an opportunity for people?
Yeah, so Michelle and I have workshops that are coming up, and we will start the workshops in Charlotte. Then we will go on to Greensboro and Raleigh, and it's open to the underrepresented populations that have either recently graduated and still haven't found the type of position that they're looking for, or those that are set to graduate or set to go into internships. Michelle does a workshop called Young, Broke, and Almost Famous, where it really helps the students put into perspective their presentation, their branding, and their marketing. So just kind of like you guys are saying, where do you wear the church clothes? Where do you bring the flip-flops? Just really trying to understand who you are, trying to make your network affect your net worth, And again, just a lot of the presentation, a lot of the communication, some of your elevator pitches and your brief presentations with regards to, how do you accept constructive criticism at the workplace, things of that nature. So that's her workshop, and my workshop is going to be more so, it's called Would You Hire You? At this moment, there are some students that, kind of take a narcissistic approach when it relates to, this is who I am, and you can either take it or leave it. But, they find themselves in situations where it's like no one has taken it and they have left them. And so we start with the very beginning and, working on the resume. Then we work on the interviews, how to answer the interview questions. Why should I hire you? By the time you leave that workshop, you should know how to answer that question. What are your strengths and weaknesses? And then lastly, just some additional things that take place in the interview process that they should gear up and prepare themselves for. So 2 different approaches, but definitely, bringing a complete, bringing it into a complete circle so that these students are at least getting the preliminary steps to prepare and present themselves in the best possible way.
First of all, I absolutely love the titles. So, spot on with, the title, the millennials, because I would want to, I'm like, that's young, broke, and almost famous. Like, that's, like you're young, you're broke, but you have 1 million followers on Instagram. That's not doing anything for you. So, like, I feel like those titles you all have done really, really good in pulling in, hopefully that they resonate with, with that demographic. And so what's the date, the location, and how can people register?
Well, the first workshop is in Charlotte, and it's next Saturday, January 27th. And both of the workshops are going on from 9 to 11. The second stop of our tour is going to be in Greensboro, and that's February 10th. And the third stop is going to be in Raleigh on March 17th. And if they want to register, they'll need to go to our website, which is www.goHIRE, and that's HIREU, the letter U.com. And there on the website, they can go to events and choose which location, which workshop they want to be a part of, and go from there.
All right, fabulous. And listeners, we've put the link also, if you're listening from Sharvette.com, it's on the blog page about this segment, so the link is right there, and then we'll also share that on Facebook for those that are listening in that area there. And so I love that you all are targeting and helping the underserved population. And do you feel that other cultures are preparing their students better or differently, or is there some missing link? And I'm going to come to Tasha first and to Michelle. Is there some missing link perhaps with the African American community that other communities have the link on?
Sharvette, that's a pretty dangerous question you've asked me.
Yeah,
because I haven't had a good day today. Let's see. So,
listen, this is reality radio, so this is my show. So we can talk about what we want to talk about.
So it's a twofold question.
Okay.
I believe that some universities do a much better job in preparing their students for corporate America. Because of the types of internships that they bring to their universities, because of the employers that come to the job fair, because of the relevant material that they provide them in career services, and because of the auxiliary services that they offer them outside of the university. And they encourage their students to take part in those things. With some of the universities that we have encountered with the HBCU population, it's a uphill battle, because I've had conversations myself that they take the stance of, well, why do we need you? Or how much is it our students can't afford that cost, or it's not in our budget to be able to give them this or afford them this opportunity, or we have 15 different other, workshops that they can come to for free. And I look at them and I say, when I started the program back in 2015, 86% of our students went to work. They went to work for Amazon, TIAA, Wells Fargo, and several other companies. It is a proven process. I sit in meetings daily with individuals, and for you to give me the pushback to say that a $40 investment for your student is not worth the $100,000 student loan that they will incur thereafter, it's
right.
It's a very difficult thing to hear. It's more difficult to know that, someone may feel threatened that you want to prepare those students better than them. And their practices, some of their practices are antiquated. Some of their practices, it's kind of like an educator trying to teach someone how to behave in corporate America. Your education, your area of expertise is in the academic world. My area of expertise is in the business world. And when your students cross that stage, they immediately cross into the business world. So I do believe that, as some of those HBCUs, some of them are not doing as much as they can with the resources that are coming to them and that are preparing those students to come out with jobs in hand. And again, that's because of some of the resources that they're given by the state to, prepare them in a certain manner. And I'm going to go ahead and get off that soapbox before, I get a little bit more aggressive with my thoughts. And I'll let you answer that, Michelle.
Well, can I just interject, Michelle, before what is absurd about that is that we go to college for 4 years for what? To get a job. Right. So if you're trying to figure out where to move money around on the table, it would behoove you that you make sure your students get jobs, like, number one. And then the other comment is that you have been in a position where you've gone to job fairs, so you can kind of say as an outside person, hey, this is what we're seeing. They're not prepared. They're not prepared. So anyway, okay. Right. All right, Michelle, your comments.
Yeah, well, Tasha did a great job covering internally. And as an educator, I've taught at an HBCU, and, of course, I now teach at a majority school. And I'll approach it from a different perspective since I think Tasha did a great job, shedding light on what's happening with some of these institutions. I'll bring up another area of, I think, challenge, which is the actual mindset of some students. I'm a first-generation college student, so at the institution, my previous institution, upwards of 90% of those students were first-generation. First-generation students are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. There's a gap in terms of exposure and access and not growing up in a household where anyone has done this before that can encourage you and help you understand to invest in yourself, this $40. And so I think there's a mindset shift that has to happen with certain demographics, and especially in the underrepresented population, when you have a lack of information, and then coupled with the scenario that Tasha just spoke upon, it's just a double whammy, so to speak. So it is really hard. Everything that she addressed, I see now teaching in the School of Business at Wake Forest, where a lot of these students, to be honest with you, are coming from families where their fathers are CEOs of major companies that we all frequent on a daily basis, or presidents of banks. So they're getting a lot of that exposure just because of how and where they grew up. And so when you don't have that, it's sometimes difficult to, now you're in school and you know there may be some lack in programming or just lack of preparedness. You don't know what you don't know. And so that's definitely, a challenge there as well. But one thing that I also find rather absurd, if we're going to use that word again, is we will spend money to go to a Cardi B concert. And I love, Cardi B. She is breaking records. So this is, hey, no slight on you, Cardi B. Bodak Yellow. Nothing against that. But while we're building Cardi B's brand, we're not building our own brand. And so you'll invest in a ticket to go see Cardi B, but why won't you invest in $40 to make sure that your resume is tight and that, you don't only have hot sauce in your bag, that you have a pressed out resume in your bag, and you can get a job. So you can continue to go to Cardi B concerts and eat well and live well, but there has to be an investment in you and your own brand, young, broke, and almost famous. Well, Cardi B is famous, but before we knew who she was, she wasn't. She was working on her brand. So invest in your brand, and that's what goHIRE does. We give you opportunity to invest in you so you can hire you, so you can be young and not broke and famous.
I love that. goHIREU.com. Again, go the word hire, the letter U.com. Go there and connect. And it is, because even parents will buy iPhones. My goddaughter who is, she got an iPhone at like 8 or 9 years old. Like, I can't, $40 is nothing when we buy the children all of these other things. It really is nothing. And then those of you that are on the periphery, listeners, you're an auntie or a godmama, or you do it. You invest in them. If you don't feel like the parent will do it, you buy the ticket for them. You get the registration for them. I think you make a really great point, Michelle, about the support from home. So I remember my mom, I think she was the first of her siblings to go to college. And so, like, my granddad, like, he made sure, like, you stay in school, you go, like, whatever. He made sure she graduated. And so then I remember when I was going to school, my father went to college as well, but when I was going to school and then I was like, okay, I'm going to stop and work a little bit and go back, like, my mom, like, she just stayed on me, like, get your degree. But if you don't have that and you don't see the importance of, okay, now you got to get a job, it's a cycle. So you need an outside influence to help give you that, was my whole point, to go kind of around that circle.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so I love this. So where do you all see this going? So you got North Carolina. Do you see going to other states?
We see going higher. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I like that.
I actually agree. I mean, we would absolutely love to go to other states, but it's kind of like, in order for us to get there, we have to have the buy-in, not only from the students, but from the educational institutions and from their parents. We have employers that we support, employers that come to us for diversity talent, but it's really hard to put an individual in front of them that is not ready, because, employers will quickly take their dollars out of HBCU job fairs because they can't get the talent that they are looking for. So, yes, to answer your original question, we would love to take it, but we need the student involvement. We need the young grad involvement.
It's got to be a partnership. And then it's a reflection on you all's brand as well. So you want, whatever you put out to be successful, you have a reputation that you've built with employers, with the other things that you do. And so that all, that's an impact. So it's an impact certainly all around. And so with this, this, now we're going into, most people that are in college are kind of jumping into their next semesters, and a couple of things, if there's somebody that's listening saying, hey, I might not be able to get to one of the sessions that you have, do you have a couple tips, maybe 3 tips for that college student that's graduating in May or June and going to be looking for jobs? Any maybe 3 tips, let's say 2 tips apiece, so 2 tips from Tasha and 2 tips from Michelle that you would share with that kind of person that's listening.
So I spoke to a student today that graduated in December 2016, and he is not working up to his potential at the moment. And he called and he said, Ms. Tasha, I am looking to get into a certain area of expertise, and I have not gotten a call back. It's been almost a year and a half, and I haven't gotten a call back. What can I do? And I said something very specific to him, and, he's thinking very broad. And I said, find out where you want to go first, then work your way backwards. If you want to be in human resources, or if you want to be a cost accountant, or if you want to be a CEO, put your eye on that prize, then work yourself backwards. Find the steps that will support you eventually getting to where you want to go, versus driving around aimlessly and praying that you end up somewhere. So that's the first piece of advice. The second is learn how to communicate. You have to be able to communicate because everybody is listening to you. Everybody is looking at you. And if you can't communicate in an email, can't communicate on a voicemail, can't communicate in an interview, can't communicate on your resume, you are putting yourself at a terrible disadvantage. So those are the two pieces of advice that I have. A little unconventional, but I believe firmly in them.
Oh, they're excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing.
I would say for my two tips, I would say the first one is going back to one of the things we talked about earlier is investing in yourself, meaning taking the time to do whatever it takes to make yourself better. So there is a lot of information back to the information superhighway out there on the internet, YouTube videos and things in terms of what some of the things that Tasha is saying and communicating. Just be the best in whatever area that you're looking for, which that means doing a certain level and amount of research and information, and to make sure that you have the right data and information for the area and the field that you want to be in. So when you do get that opportunity to communicate who you are and what you want to do, you're prepared. Success happens when preparation and opportunity meet. So you want to be ready for the opportunity. And to off of that one is network. Relationships are key. That's the new currency. So people, they want to know you. They want to, people work with people that they like, people who they have a connection with. It's who you know and who knows you. And so I find that most millennials, most young people are intimidated by networking. They don't really understand it. They don't know that means going up to someone and asking for a job. No, it's about building a relationship. So my first tip is a short-term tip, and the second is more long-term. Relationships are an investment, and it may not pay off immediately, but in the long run, it definitely could do that. I'm working at Wake Forest, which is my alma mater, and my old professor from 20 years, I'm dating myself, from several years back, actually hired me. And so you never know where these relationships could go, where your career could end up. So really just being informed, do your research in your particular industry, in your area, finding people. LinkedIn and other social media platforms it's out there. People are out there, and they're willing to help students and young people who are investing in themselves. I always tell my students, I'll have your front, but I'll have your back, but you have to have your front. You go first. So when people see that you're working hard, they'll get behind you and they'll invest in you and they'll help you get to where you need to be. But you got to go first.
And you know what?
That's good.
I just want to slide
that's
this.
Good. Both
I want
of
to slide this back in here.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I want to slide this right back in there, Sharvette. But before you get on LinkedIn, before you start, quote unquote networking, learn how to communicate first, because you only get one time to make a great first impression. So, don't think that I'm going to reach out to this person on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, Snapchat, or I'm going to send them an invite via LinkedIn, and you don't know how to communicate. It is a turnoff. Or you go right in and you start asking for stuff. And I can't co-sign for you if I don't know who you are. And so once you learn, there's a process to everything, and the process that we're talking about, goHIRE provides that. We provide you that information so you can do it the right way, and when you do get the opportunity, you can nail it.
Listen, both of those comments they're good for 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. I know that you all target those that are coming right out, but what you all said, that was good for a whole lot. That's good for those trying to do their own business. That was good for a whole lot of us listening in today. So I'm really excited that we just had a chance to grab a few minutes with you. Listeners, Tasha Burks, Michelle Horton, goHIREU.com. Ladies, I really appreciate you stopping by. I'd love if you want to give in any individual connection points, if you have your own websites or any social media that you would like to direct people to if they want to connect with you individually.
If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram. My handle is IamTBurks, BURKS. You can also, communicate with the Instagram for goHIRE, and that's goHIRE, GOHIRE.U. And I can get your messages that way as well.
This is
Perfect.
Michelle, and I'm also on Instagram. Yes, I'm also on the gram, and my handle is Michelle O. Horton, as in Obama. So Michelle O. Horton. So when you type in Michelle O, myself, and the first lady will pop up. I'll be the next one under Michelle Obama. So you can reach me that way as well.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for stopping by, and we wish you much more continued success, and that whatever your hands touch turns to gold, and any student that you touch, they reap a harvest just because of their interactions with you. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, listeners, that's going to be a wrap for today. We appreciate you guys for stopping by. And we're going to be seeing you and checking you out later on the web. Bye.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. Interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.